everyone, this is Patriotails once again with more Max Payne. I'm noticing that it's a bit darker than I would like it to be, so let's fuss with it a little bit. Yeah, look at that's normal. That's and that's Nightmare. Wow, that looks kind of sick. Go big mode, William Wilson. Go big mode. Can't see anything. What if I do both of these? Alright, this is probably the best we're gonna get. We're going to brighter. Here we go. So, continuing on. We just finitoed the Finito boys and his Finito man and his Finito henchmen. What the? Ah. Okay, that's full. His arm's clipping through there.
The antique switchboard was still in use.
But I decided to check the closet first, just in case they'd left anything for me to be able to use. I pushed the button on the I pushed the exit button. The buzzer, the buzzer was very annoying, and I tried to shut it off immediately, but it wouldn't stop. I went over to the antique switchboard and activated it. A cutscene played.
There was an old telephone switchboard in the back room of the reception area. The kind that made phone tapping child's play.
Hey.
It wasn't hard to picture a fat pimp sweating with headphones on, listening to his hookers talk dirty and fake orgasms over a web of party lines. The blood veins of New York. Right now, there was a different set of moans and groans going on.
Oh. Death groans, death moans.
This is Max Payne. He came, started capitalist. He killed him.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Are you freaking kidding me? He's just one lousy cop. You better be freaking kidding me. Whack him. What's the freaking problem? Hello? Answer me. Hello?
The word was out. A deadly virus released into the city's corrupt circulatory system. Something wicked this way comes. Max Payne at large.
And in charge. Max Payne at large and in charge. Oh, I broke it before I even got to play with it. Oh. That's no fun. Now that's fun. Yeah, elevator's still not working. Up against the wall. Oh! Oh. Do it again. I can win. I continue this for a few minutes. Hoping fruitlessly that I would get a win, luring some of these criminals out so I could blast them with my shotgun. Over and over again, hoping that it would trigger a higher thing. By the 5th time, I'd gotten sick of it, and I blew a hole into the slot machine. Unfortunately, not even blowing the hole into the slot machine killed it, and pulling the lever did nothing anymore. Pulling the lever, I was able to pull it one final time before it stopped working entirely.
You think you could take my money? You know who you're dealing with? Huh?
Apparently, I wasn't the only gambler in the room. Nor was I the only one who blew a hole in his slot machine. I crouched down, prepared to jump. Then,
Yo!
but he got around the corner before I had a chance. I hesitated a bit, not able to do more than one action at a time, as he got a couple of shots off and took out some of my health. My feet were covered in blood, as indicated by my health meter. The doors were unlocked and open, indicating that was where I was meant to go. I, however, decided to look around, see if I could find anything else. I found a bottle of painkillers, allowing me to fully heal my health, without worrying about missing out. I pulled out my Beretta and started pushing the buttons on the cold drink machine. Over and over again, I pushed the button until all of the drinks had been drained out of the machine. When they had, I stood back and fired a shot into it, killing it immediately, stopping the ceaseless sound that was being emitted from the whirring gizmo, from the whirring vending gadget. I pushed the door open, but it was very eager to remain closed. Immediately trying to reclose itself, possibly due to the cold outside. The door slammed shut, and then I was on a roof. I was on a recessed roof, sunken within in between other taller buildings. I wondered why they required a neon sign for this door, when in fact the only way you could get in here is by leaving. I tried to shoot the neon signs to make them deactivate, but apparently the programmers hadn't actually planned that far and hadn't made them destructible. I jumped onto the window and was a bit surprised to see that it was able to hold my weight. I fired a shot into it a couple of times, dropping down, and the music immediately began. It hit me a couple of times, catching me off guard. I blew one, two. I blew them one, two. I reloaded. A couple more guys came in, and one of them was stupid enough to run right up to me. The other two approached me, not realizing that I had a shotgun in the upper hand, despite the fact that I had fired it right in front of them. I topped up the shells in my shotgun and went around picking up the ammo that these chumps had dropped. A large replica of what seemed to be the Empire State Building said, "Welcome to number 2 New York," in the lobby of the apartment building. I was finally on the first floor, able to leave this hellhole. The exit door was in front of me, but instead I decided to try to open the door to the lounge. The door was locked. I couldn't get in. I turned my attention to the large double-doored exit and went and left, leaving both sets of doors, or at least attempting to. The full exit door was locked. I wasn't able to get out. I went back in and remembered the button that was behind the reception desk. Although I couldn't understand why the button was behind the reception desk, when you wouldn't be able to tell if the door needed unlocking from in there. You wouldn't be able to hear a knocking behind an additional set of doors, and all the way back here. Regardless, I decided I pushed the button anyway and made my way toward the exit. The constant buzzing telling me that the door was completely unlocked. Clang! I'd made it to the end of the level. Chapter 5 began. Part 1. Chapter 5 of Part 1 began. The man riding shotgun. I assumed that was me, as I was holding a shotgun. A pump action, in fact. Fully loaded and ready to blast the next criminal's head off. The loading bar completely filled, and the next sequence began.
Turn around, walk away, blow town. That would have been the smart thing to do. Guess I wasn't that smart.
Yeah.
Lupino's tenement buildings were a seedy hangout for all kinds of sleaze. A liquor store, a pawn shop, a laundromat full of mobster bookies and loan
I thought
sharks.
he said porn.
The list went on.
I thought he said porn shop.
The how and why of it was a mystery to me, but they knew I was a cop. They knew I was coming, and they were going to get real trigger happy about it.
Oh, definitely. Next.
I got to see Lupino's hangout all lit up. A bomb went off, turning snow into liquid gold.
Ooh.
A pillar of fire lifted the remains of a car straight up into the air.
Wow.
The flames were highlighted on the hood of a black Mercedes-Benz as it coasted down the street real slow, as if the driver didn't have a worry in the
The
world.
Mercedes-Benz.
I got a good look at the man riding shotgun.
The man riding
It
shotgun.
was Vladimir, the head of the local Russian mob, the fly in Don Punchinello's soup.
Ah.
The ringing in my ears was the sound of a mob war being waged.
I see. Vodka. Okay. Vodka, I guess. You psychopath! The driver of the car skidded and scraped against a truck haphazardly.
Another bomb exploded inside the closest slum building. It was a lucky break. The goons inside were spooked, but luck always came with a price tag. More bombs could still be ticking inside, and the cops would already be on their way. Jack Lupino's suite was on the top floor. At least it used to be, before the explosive makeover.
Excellent general adult videos. Yeah, I don't think excellent is the quality you're gonna get with any of this. How long is this burnt? Oh, I know. This is the burnt out car that destroyed. Why was Max outside of a dirty video store? The cleaners were closed. It's too late for anything to be open.
I don't know, man. I don't know about this.
Quit worrying, eh? Think of it as Christmas. The Russians are with Santa.
Ah. There were a couple of criminals inside the pawn shop, ransacking the place in the middle of the night. For some reason, the alarm wasn't going off, but they sure were. I wasn't sure why, but this pawn shop had a rather large stock of ammunition. Well, not large stock, but larger than you'd expect from a pawn shop. I tried to shoot the door to loosen the lock, but nothing came of it. There were 3 TVs on shelves, of varying qualities. I tried each of them, but obviously it wouldn't be plugged in. I wasn't hoping that they would turn on. I just wanted to hear the nice click. I just wanted to hear the firm click of the buttons as I depressed them. Surprisingly, they all made the exact same. Surprisingly, each button made the same noise as the last. 2 shots had been fired into a window, and another 2 into an adjacent window. At first, I was confused, but then I remembered that these 2 had fired upon me before I was able to take them out. Those are the shots that had missed. Meanwhile, a couple of others have actually hit, taken a bit more of my health. So, many doors around the area were locked, and the trash can had a fire burning brightly inside of it. This alleyway seemed to be one that would be frequented by homeless people, but I wouldn't be able to say that for sure unless I saw one there. The free delivery signs were in the window of of Johnny's Deli and Grocery on the same street. But they were also, but it was also closed. I didn't even bother to try to open the door. I went up to the lobby, number 456, where Lupino's penthouse would be. The explosion had jammed the door shut, preventing me from going in.
The headlines were a depressing read. The headlines were screaming bloody murder. The story was a screaming duet with the approaching prowl car sirens. It was all a scream when you were down for the count and wanted for murder.
I could have fired and set off the alarm of the van, but I didn't want to wake anybody. It wasn't. This is insert city here after. This is Chicago or New York after all. And people have to sleep to get up to go to work. I opened the back of the van, finding a pump-action shotgun in the trunk. With none of the doors being accessible, I found a set of stairs leading to the door to a basement. I headed down, and prepared for the worst. I barged into the door, causing one of the thugs to fire on his own partner. I waited a minute or two, hoping that they would run out and give me an easier shot. They didn't though. The man that had fired upon his partner still stood there, his gun aimed at the doorway, ready to fire the second he saw even the slightest hint of me. I strafed over and fired on him. I wasn't sure if there was anybody else in the room, so I carefully looked, and there was. Behind the door, a third man was kneeling with a pistol, ready to fire at me and take my head off. He didn't get the chance though, as I dove out from behind cover and blew him away with one blast of a shotgun. Although I was mistaken, it wasn't a Desert Eagle pistol; it was a sawn-off shotgun, firing the same category of ammo as my own. The boxes seemed destructible, so I fired a couple of shots into them. Unfortunately, nothing happened. It was a fruitless endeavor. I pulled out my dual Berettas and wanted to perform an experiment. Would my dual Berettas actually set off Molotovs that were sitting along the floor? I fired a couple of times. It was inconclusive. I swapped to a single Beretta, aimed, shot. Being a fair bit of a distance away from the Molotov cocktail, this still registered to me as inconclusive. So I got closer and pulled up my bat. Now I had imagined bad things happening with the bat before. Previously, the last time I tried this, that propane canister detonated before I was able to get away. Hopefully that wouldn't happen this time. And I was right. Apparently, weapons that you can pick up have no collision in the world. And I breathed a sigh of relief, as I wouldn't have to imagine dying and doing all of that over again. I came to a set of two doors and tried the right one. The third thug's head clipped into it, clearly holding it closed. I tried the left door. It opened easily. It easily opened. And stayed that way. Most doors appeared to do that. Most doors appeared to stay open after opening them. The door down the hallway was completely locked, inaccessible to me without a key or some kind of way to face through walls. It was an open door. It was an open door to a power room. I didn't know if anybody would be inside, so I moved cautiously. Nobody. There wasn't a single soul in this room. I checked all the control panels, but not one of them did anything. Across the hall, a door was ajar. There was a door open a crack, and a man inside. From his crazed ramblings, I could tell he was on V, drugged out of his mind beyond reproach. Another man. There were two of them. One standing, one huddled in a ball in the corner. I carefully walked inside, trying to see if there were any items.
Think I'm dead?
They didn't react to my presence, so I decided to leave. I walked a bit down the hallway to activate another cutscene. A loading zone, in fact. Chapter 5, something more sinister. I don't really have much else to say besides the whole noir bit that he's doing. But I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun. And hopefully this will be coming out during December. All of these videos will be coming out during December. Then suddenly,
The whole building was rigged with explosives.
and the flames were starting to catch up with me. I saw some propane tanks to the left, and I ran over to the right. Clearly, the fire was going to breach any moment. Although, I hid in the corner, waiting for them to go off. The flames stationary. I stood back, aimed at the propane tanks, and fired. The three of them, the propane tanks exploded. The propane tanks exploded, destroying the door I was next to and killing me. This, of course, didn't actually happen. I looked at them, still remembering what I had imagined: the propane tank flying and detonating on impact, killing me in the process. I stood back, so that the resulting explosion wouldn't kill me. Fired on one of the propane tanks and set it off. It did nothing. Apparently, the white propane tank had been empty for a bit. I turned to the red one. Fired once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. A few more. It wasn't reacting. I fired again. And again, and again. It wasn't going off. I wasn't sure what was wrong. I fired at the smaller propane tank. Nothing. I stood in the hallway. I stood just barely in the hallway. Looked in the propane tank and fired. Fired at the nozzle this time. It gave off a flame, and like I imagined, the propane tank flew off and destroyed the door, this time without harming me. I'd incidentally used my Desert Eagle, and it wasted a lot of ammo. Wasted a lot of ammunition. If one guy... I stopped. Took cover. If one guy had run down the hallway, surely another must have survived as well. I was right. Although it seemed that the only ones that had survived were a couple of V addicts that were in the middle of a bad trip at the end of the room, at the end of the long room. I heard a man whistling as he walked by. I pulled out my sawed-off shotgun and got ready for him. I continued to wait, not hearing anything. His whistling and having silenced. I almost doubted that he would be coming around, until he actually had. I missed my shot, looking at the wall to the right. He seemed to have vanished, perhaps behind this closest wall. I inched my way over, went around the corner. He was nowhere to be found, probably behind this wall. He seemed to have completely vanished into thin air, without a single trace. I went over to the nearby medicine cabinet. 2 bottles of painkillers were there. I used one and picked up a refund. My health seemed to be in perfect condition, but I used another one just in case. I was right. A few points of damage had been retained, and the painkillers fully healed me. Painkillers fully healed me. I reloaded the sawed-off shotgun, then remembered that 7 shots are better than 2, and pulled out the pump action. There were 7 in the pump action tube, with 69 in my pocket. Nice. There was another door here, completely locked and broken. Couldn't go through. but a nearby doorway provided passage. The man that seemed to have vanished was actually in the room back here, aiming his gun at the door, just waiting for a chance to blow me apart. I performed a slow motion action jump and fired on him. Not realizing there was another man behind me. The second man had much worse aim than the first. It didn't even hit me one time before I was able to take him out. The two of them had Desert Eagle pistols, possibly refilling my ammo to what it was before I wasted all of it in that propane tank. Then, Ingram shots. One less than intelligent man ran down around the corner and attempted to fire on me. I took him out before he was able. Another boiler, this one seeming in much better condition. I probably wasn't going to be able to blow it up, but that doesn't mean I wasn't going to try. Nothing. It was true. I wasn't going to be able to blow this one up. It would have been great fun. Alas. What can you say? I went over to what seemed like a door. Apparently, it was just a wall it was a former doorway that had been walled over, but still resembled the shape of a door. A nearby phone started to ring, and I picked up the receiver.
A beaten-up phone in the entrance hall was ringing. It could have been just a junkie in need of a fix, but it turned out to be something more sinister than that.
Am I speaking to Mr. Payne?
Who wants to know?
My name is Alfred Wooden. You must hurry. The police are on their way.
Indeed.
Tell me something I don't know.
They know you're there.
How? And what's it to you?
I will contact you again.
The cops arrived, sirens singing in the off-key harmony of a manic-depressive choir. I had a few minutes while the SWAT team would go through their usual routine. By the time they busted in, I needed to be long gone.
Max Payne.
My ears started to bleed.
Chief Jim Bravura from the NYPD. Drop your weapons and come out with your hands above your head.
The feedback of the megaphone had caused my ears to bleed slightly. My headphones filling up with blood.
That's bad. That's bad.
You think?
Yeah.
Come on. He seemed to have vanished. He seemed to have vanished just as mysteriously as he had spawned. I couldn't see him. I was completely blind. I couldn't see him. Then the explosions began. Chunks of the building began to fall around me. I worried if the ceiling above me would have fallen down. Luckily, it didn't. It was just one section of floor that was no longer walkable, and instead had retired to the floor below. A nearby door with light coming out from it, and seemingly with some light smoke, drew my attention. I walked over and tried to open it.
Without a key, I'd never get past this door.
The man had taken cover in an adjacent room, firing on me with all he had. I was able to stay within cover and get to the side, beside the door, ready to jump out, which I did, firing upon him on my way by. His shotgun skills were no match for my own, and I pulled out my Beretta to hopefully fire upon these boxes and give me some additional supplies. Not that I really needed them, I just wanted them. All of the boxes on the shelf were part of the shelf itself, unable to be fired open. Another fake door, unable to be opened to the left of the real one. I found an additional room, seemingly unlinked to anything else, with many destructible boxes inside. I fired upon a lot of them, hoping to find some kind of additional supplies. That's the game. It told me that is the way to get items. So the game had told me that is the way to get items. Bupkis. Nothing. All the boxes were empty. I went to the other side of the room and tried the locked door. It didn't open. I walked to where the man was, went over to the padlocked door, and shot it open. It opened immediately, and I hid behind the wall, attempting to take cover from whoever might be inside. There was no one.
Someone had left a letter on the counter.
It was a counter with a shutter in front, with a shutter on the other side. I decided to check it. The double narrated thing was getting old, but I didn't feel like stopping anytime
Suddenly
soon.
it all made sense. The bombs, the Russian mob boss making an appearance in person. Gagnidi was his usual self, all talk and no walk.
After our hit, the Russian has only a couple of guns left, and they can be bought. There's no freaking way he has the guts to try anything after that.
As it turned out, the Russian had plenty of guts. One thing you could count on, you push a man too far and sooner or later he'd start pushing back.
Yeah, somebody's gonna die.
There was a key on the shelf.
There were also 2 bottles of painkillers. I tried to use one, but my health was already completely full. The room beside the counter was completely locked, preventing me from being able to enter. I switched to my pump-action shotgun, unable to grab any more ammo. It was already full. I grabbed the staircase key and walked back to the locked door, expecting to be met with some resistance, but none came. I walked over and opened the door, ready for just about anything. And a cutscene and my vision went black as the loading screen began. And I knew it was time to end the episode, as I had already been going for over 30 minutes. Alright. As soon as we get to an in-engine cutscene, I'm going to pause and then end the episode. Or not. This time, we're going to go with... Is it the same thing? Yeah, okay. This will be the pose Max will have between episodes this time. Alright. Well, there's another episode. Another episode complete. Progressing ever closer to the ending. Eventually we would find the end of the story, but it wouldn't be anytime soon, I assume. It had been a while since I'd played the game. I didn't know how long it was. And hopefully, this new format of the longer episodes would allow me to reach it fairly quickly. Hopefully before the end of December. Alright. So yeah, that'll be the end of another episode. I had fun. I hope you've had fun. And I'll see you for the next one. More Max Payne in the next episode. See you later.